Find the set of values of x for which 3 plus 5x minus 2x squared is less than or equal to 0. Whenever we get these inequalities with our quadratic, or what we call quadratic inequalities, what we're going to do is to try to find the critical values. And when we say critical values, I'm referring to you trying to solve it ordinarily. So when you try to solve it ordinarily, you would have gotten your x equals something. In this context, we don't have an equal sign, but the approach is the same. Let's check this out. Now, we're going to factorize this, right? So let me write down my a, which is -2, my b, which is +5, and my c, which is 3. Making sure that we're not making any mistake. So we're talking about a, b, and c. AC is equal to -2 times 3, which is equal to -6. I could run on and just get these stuff, but guess what? We're using 6 and 1 to get a 5 because my AC is a negative number there. All right, so I'm using the 6 and I'm going to use the 1, but guess what? I am going to have to use a -1 and a +5 so that I will make sure that, remember, the b is positive, so let the bigger one take the sign of b, and then we walk ourselves through this now. So we're going to walk ourselves through it right about now. So here it is now, AC. We're going to plug these in the middle there. So I'm just factorizing it. I'm not skipping any step so anybody feel kind of funny. All right, so it depends. If you want to rearrange it to suit yourself, that's fine. All right. You can rearrange it to let it look like how you want it to look. It does not matter. All right. So let us write down what we have. Let us say we have 3, and then I have +6x. I have -1x or minus x minus 2x squared. And this is less than or equal to 0. Some people would do what they have to do to let this be positive, or it does not matter. All right, you're factorizing. So let us take out our 3 here. We're factorizing this, then we're going to factorize that. So if I take out 3 there, I get 1 plus 2x. That's fine. 1 plus 2x. So I'm going to take out -x for this part here, -x. So -x into itself is 1, and -x into -2x squared will give me +2x. This is still less than or equal to 0. Now, whenever I reach this stage and I realize that my 2 brackets would have come back, then I would feel very confident going forward because now I can refactorize, or for short, we would say that, guess what? We could easily write back one of these, yeah? And then put the other 2 things on the outside, here they are, in the other bracket. And we're still less than or equal to 0. So there it is. We have that, right? So we're looking at that idea right there. We're looking at that idea right there. So let us interpret this now. So this is saying that, guess what? All of these. So what we want to do, though, is that we want to find the critical values. In finding the critical values, you are going to ignore this idea just for a little bit. Just ignore that, because you want to just find the values that you're going to be using to evaluate your thing. All right. So then let's find them. So we want to say, guess what? 1 plus 2x is equal to 0. So we're getting at the critical values now. 3 minus x is equal to 0. So then we could see here, we have 2 things dealing with. From this one, we'll have x is equal to 3, 3 is equal to x. And then for this one, I'm looking at x is equal to -1 over 2. So then now I could utilize this in going forward, right? I could utilize that as I handle my business. So let us look at our business right now. Remember though, that we understand that this would make our curve having a maximum. So one of the ways in which you could do this is to put on your -1/2, put on your +3. So you'll understand that the curve would have gone somewhere somewhere, because it's an idea. So the curve, let me put it in this color. It would have gone through a half, come up, and like that, right? So the curve would have gone through a half and come up like that. Because it has a maximum, so it's going to look like that. All right? So now, remember now, what we're looking for, though, is that we're looking for ideas where the curve is less than. So now we can focus back on our inequality. We are focusing on when this thing is less than, right? Less than 0. Now I'm going to just use a color code. So I'm going to drop a line. I could just continue my purple line going across like that. All right, so that line would have gone, that line would have gone, and we have a half right here, negative a half, positive 3. We're talking about less than or equal to 0, less than. So then I'll shade the idea for us. Would you agree that this area continue to infinity? The curve would have been under the 0 line, which means that it is less than. Also, if I come to the right of positive 3, the curve would have been less than, right? It would have been less than 0 because I'm going underneath the 0 line. Because everybody would have known that this is where y is 0. This line is where y is 0. So we're talking about looking at the yellow that I've shaded. We want to appreciate the fact that the curve is underneath the y equals 0 line there. And we need to represent that idea using our set notations, right? So we need to do that. But so when you look at that, you would say that as I step to the left, when I step to the left of negative half, when I step to the left of negative half, I am in that region. In other words, these lines would have been touching the curve in the below 0. And when I step to the right of 3, those lines, x values would have touched the curve below. So we want to describe this. So guess what? 2 quick description is that over here, it's like x is less than or equal to negative a half because we're going that way to negative infinity. And over here, we could say x is greater than or equal to positive 3. That means we're heading that way to positive infinity. So basically, we need to combine the idea just to write like one complete thing. These 2 things are correct. You know, in themselves, the 2 responses are good, but we want to combine it by using a union because we want to unite all the values here along with all the values there to give the answer to the question. And what do I mean? Basically, I'm saying we're writing it in set notation. So we're saying that x is such that x is greater than or equal to 3. And that is like one little thing. So I could have a little, you know, thing there. And we want to unite that with the fact that x, hold on, let me write this, sorry, with the fact that x is less than or equal to negative a half. You close it off. So we're looking for a set notation response like that, where we unite the idea. Make sure it is in a curly bracket because you're responding based on how they phrase the question. So let us peek back at the question and I'll come back. It says determine the values of x for no, where am I? Find, my bad. We're reading this. Find the set of values, of x. Hence, we want to use set notation and represent it properly. So we use our curly bracket and all of that, all right? Again, if you just come, if you are not a person that have subscribed, I'm asking you just to subscribe to the channel and just hit the likes, everybody. Let's get some likes up there so that